And now I will turn it over to Liz to introduce our guest speaker, but somebody we all know and love.
Mhm. Thank you, Melva. Yeah, we are so thrilled to welcome Corey Easterday back to Wedgewood. Corey is the National Director for Current Initiatives, which is a nonprofit committed to educating and mobilizing communities through impactful programs like the Laundry Project, which we're all familiar with, Hope for Homes Project, and Affordable Christmas Initiatives. Originally from Ohio, Corey has spent over 15 years working in the nonprofit and creative sectors, speaking, writing, and advocating for under-resourced communities. His passion to equip individuals and communities with the tools to create lasting change is so wonderful, and we are so thrilled, Corey, to welcome you back to Wedgewood.
Thank you, Liz. Very glad to be back. I know and love all of you as well, so I appreciate that that introduction. Um, yeah, I'm excited to share with you guys. Did everyone here, because I actually wasn't at that one, did everyone here on the call actually volunteer at the Laundry Project, or just a few of you?
I
I think
think we
most
all
of us
did,
did.
and some
Okay,
others that aren't here this morning.
Hmm.
gotcha. Okay, that's awesome. Well, yeah, so like Liz said, for those that don't know, my name is Corey Easterday. I am with Current Initiatives as the national director and leader of our Charlotte initiatives, and it is wonderful to be back. I think it was almost a year ago to the day. Uh, how time flies that I was, hanging out with y'all at Wedgewood, and then a few months after that, we did our first laundry project together, first of many in the future, and I'm excited because you know last time I was sharing with you guys at Wedgewood, I focused my talk on this idea of hope because we call our volunteers hope dealers, and hope is a very big value for us as an organization with current initiatives. And on our website, we have two phrases. If you go to our website, laundrybycurrent.org, that greet you immediately. The first is clean is hope, and the second is clean is empowerment. So I thought it would be very apropos to focus on the second of those phrases, since last time we talked about that idea of hope and how it relates to our work with the Laundry Project and what you all are doing through Wedgewood. I want to talk about the idea of empowerment because I think it's equally important, and one of our important values as an organization, enough to kind of be a part of that header on the website. So it's a concept that's very personal to me and very important through the work we do and through kind of nonprofit work I've been a part of in general. But before I dive into that, I wanted to just kind of give a very brief refresher and give you guys some practical numbers for our Charlotte Laundry Project initiative. Um, so if you haven't been into Laundry Project or haven't heard of it before, been a part of it, our goal is to very practical to assist lower income families with meeting that basic need of washing clothes and linens by turning laundromats into community centers of hope. And basically, the way it works is the laundry fees are paid for while volunteers assist with laundry services and creating a caring space at the laundromat. That's kind of the broad overview. And over the past 3 years in Charlotte, partnering with folks like Wedgewood and just our incredible community in a broader sense in Charlotte, since October 2022, has made it possible for us to host 14 laundry project events with four laundromat partners across the city, serving a total of 549 families.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. Washing 5,843 loads of laundry, which translates to 58,430 pounds of laundry that's been washed. That's a lot of laundry. I don't I don't know if I've ever done that much laundry in my lifetime. So to be able to do that cumulatively through the Laundry Project in Charlotte, thanks to, our partnership with uh, places like Wedgewood and communities like Wedgewood, has just been amazing. And I always emphasize it when I read numbers because it's cool to kind of see the bigger picture. But on a micro scale, as some of y'all experienced doing the Laundry Project in person, there's certainly that aspect of, each individual story and each individual person that you encounter and the impact that not having to worry about the expensive laundry and being able to have access to clean laundry can have on those folks. And those values of hope, empowerment, I would add one of our phrases we use a lot because of, as we kind of highlighted throughout this, our time together this morning, there's always so many issues going on in the world, and it can feel so overwhelming at times. That idea of doing what you can. And another big value we have is dignity and affirming the dignity of the folks we work with. We believe pretty strongly that, and I'll unpack this a little more, but it's not our job to give people dignity. It's that people have an inherent dignity in being human, and wanting to affirm that in folks by coming alongside and helping through something like the laundry project is very important. And to unpack that word empowerment more, I don't often use the dictionary definition of things, but I think it might be helpful in this case to kind of just read it. And obviously, the caveat that there are many different contexts and expressions of empowerment, but for our purposes this morning, I want to focus on our specific context within the laundry project of what that means. So, the dictionary definition of empowerment, uh, two definitions that stood out at the top: authority or power given to someone to do something, or the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. And in a very practical sense, through something like the laundry project, we aren't, in a business of practical authority or power. In some contexts, that makes sense of, where we've had customers become volunteers and we kind of join that shared community together. There's a bit of that, but it more so focuses on, through our work, empowering people through clean laundry, the process of becoming stronger, becoming more confident. And before I continue to dig in, I was just curious. I kind of asked this last time about hope, and I'm curious with this empowerment, just kind of by like a show of hands or, reflection. Has anyone in your life ever been an empowering person for you, helped you with that, becoming stronger, becoming more confident? Yeah. So I would say that most of us are here, all of us are here because we've had somebody at one point in our lives, whether it's through this community or our broader community, just help us to feel empowered, stronger, confident, uh, controlling our life, claiming our rights, having a voice, things like that. And empowerment is something that, it's not the way my brain works. I always like to make fun of because I feel like I'm kind of a ridiculous person overall, and want to like I try to be very well organized and very, I'm, OCD, all these things, but because of how my brain works, I tend to think of things in life as being linear and being like, well, if I do this and then this and then this happens, and it's just this kind of straight upward line of growth. And, I guess by the time I'm 50 years old or something, I will have just reached my peak human perfection or something like that. Not how life works, as we've all experienced. Things can be chaotic. Things can be, just so many things can feel out of our control at times. And empowerment and hope and dignity, these are concepts that, as I've gotten older, I've been reminded it's not a one and done. It's not like, well, we gave someone hope or we made someone feel empowered. And so now they're completely self-actualized, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now they're completely hopeful, it's just, the work kind of never ends in a sense of coming alongside people and loving and being affirming of their dignity and doing this kind of community work in all its various expressions, meeting tangible needs and just sharing in our shared humanity together and helping each other. It's, as long as we're this side of the afterlife, this side of heaven, so to speak, it's this just ongoing work that happens. So it's something we all need at times, like even where I'm at currently in life, there are times where I need to feel less alone. I need to feel empowered, and something we have the capability to affirm in others. I referenced this organization last time, but there was an organization I came across when I was first starting to do this work in college, which is about 16 years ago now, 15 years ago, which is absolutely insane. But it's called the Christian Community Development Association. And one of their big tenets, and I may have referenced this last time, I don't remember, but asset-based community development, ABCD. And I'll dive into what that means, but it's an important framework for empowerment. And there are so many organizations, nonprofits I've encountered, like even here in Charlotte, there's, I'm not going to spend the time to do so because we'd be here all day, but there's a lot of nonprofits in Charlotte that are working in this asset-based community development framework, even if it's called something different, and helping to empower folks forward and give folks the resources. I use that in my bio, that under resource, because I think that's a very important distinction. And through Current, we're doing what we can through the Laundry Project, our Hope for Homes project. We have something called Affordable Christmas as well, where families can buy at Christmas time brand new gifts at 1/10 of the cost. And it just creates like a normal, dignified shopping experience for families and empowers parents to be the heroes for their kids during the holiday season. And I first when I was diving into all this, I was coming across books a lot by an author named Bob Lupton, who, if you've never heard of, I strongly recommend. I worked at Starbucks as a barista in my early 20s, and they would have us put together these barista boards and, oh, like, what's your favorite book? What's your favorite movie? Stuff like that. And I was the weird kid that, for my favorite book, it was Toxic Charity by Bob Lupton. So, it's the idea. He had another book called When Helping Hurts. This idea that, when you come to many contexts, like around the world, especially examples of extreme poverty, folks are kind of in a crisis situation, and there's a lot of just tangible aid that's needed, like food and different things to just meet basic survival needs. But a lot of what we see in America, there are plenty of examples of extreme poverty here, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of like working poor and a lot of families that are barely struggling to make ends meet, barely surviving, uh, just way below the economic threshold for middle class, things like that. And there can be this temptation for us to just try to kind of fix things and put these band-aids on it, when in a lot of cases, the whole premise of toxic charity and helping hurts is these ideas that it's always good to try to help people and give to people, but to try and do it in a way that has strategy, that has head as well as heart and compassion behind it, is important. And so asset-based community development is a community development approach that focuses on identifying and leveraging the existing strengths, skills, and resources within a community to drive positive change rather than solely focusing on its problems or deficits. Essentially, it emphasizes the assets of a community that they already possess to build a better future. So when I was growing up, I had a very rough life, came from a very tough family background, very much lived in a situation where we were struggling to make ends meet, single mom. We had to go to soup kitchens for meals. Oftentimes, like, we were, to sum it up, just very much kind of a product of the quote unquote system and needing to advantage ourselves of any resources possible in our community to kind of survive on a day-to-day basis. And there were several leaders at the church I started going to in middle school and otherwise that, beyond all reason, beyond all evidence to the contrary, saw something in me that, okay, this kid has potential, this kid has qualities, has characteristics, has capabilities. Like, God is doing something in him that can be grown and can be invested into over time. And I'm only where I'm at today because of those leaders and because of those folks that saw whatever it was in me at that time and sought to empower me and help me realize the potential that I had. And it's this idea that Jesus, in the Christian tradition, if we say things like Jesus is Lord of all, and so applying that practically would mean that Jesus is Lord of all and already at work in the spaces we enter, in the neighborhoods we go into, in the communities we're a part of, and that our work is not starting from scratch, but rather joining him on mission with those goals of meeting a tangible need, inspiring hope, affirming dignity, empowering others. It's taking your faith of, God's at work and applying it practically to, okay, well, great. I don't have to come up with this from scratch, or the burden is not all on me in a superhuman capacity, because a lot of times that creates the well-intended idea of like saviorism, or I'm going to fix things. Like Corey Easterday, can make everything the way I want it to be. And I alone possess the knowledge and the skills and the ability to help others and fix this community and whatever. And it's reshifting that framework from it's not about us, or it's not about me personally, to it's about us as a community, and that mutual like learning from each other, sharing with each other. I have just as much to learn from you and gain from you, and vice versa. And when you do that, it's just so much more powerful than kind of like coming in with like, I know how to fix everything and make this better. And this is kind of played out with laundry projects in some practical ways of, when I first started doing this back in Canton, Ohio in 2010, we would start to see, um, at our little laundromat on Duber Avenue, we would start to see a lot of the families we were, because it was a very like, you know, poor, like urban poor community, but folks were like, this is awesome. This is meeting a tangible need for us. But then they would step up and become volunteers and like want to donate and help out and give back. And that was my first kind of sense of like, oh, this is much bigger than just, meeting a tangible need of laundry. This is something that, if done the right way, we can really kind of come together as a community, and folks that, like I think of my friend Bernard I met, who uh, was this older gentleman who just didn't seem to have a lot going on, but every time we had a laundry project event, he'd come down from his house, a few houses down from the laundromat, and just be like all in, all hands on deck, And I think of the things I learned from him just about life and in general, and vice versa. And it's, to me, those were just practical examples of how that idea of asset-based community development can play out in something that our primary goal is to meet a tangible need. And even in Charlotte, we've had lots of examples of, we'll do, and this may have even happened at the location you're at, but uh, folks are like, oh, this is awesome. I want to donate. I want to get involved. I want to, be a part of this in my community, and creating that mutual community. And it's also empowering a tangible way of having clean clothes for job interviews, for school, all that kind of stuff. Um, so there's this like theoretical and these practical ways that empowerment can play out. And again, it's just not coming in with an attitude of fix, but rather partnership, resourcing, coming alongside all that stuff. So I want to, as I kind of wrap up, want to share with you just the broader context, some of our lifetime laundry project numbers. So kind of talk about in a local context, but then nationally. So we've been doing the laundry project for 16 years in 67 cities, 21 states around the country, 164 laundromat partners, uh, almost 30,000 families served over that time, almost 310,000 loads of laundry washed, over like 1,100 projects that we've done in the last 16 years. And all that equates to 3,094,200. I said that wrong. 3,994,200 pounds of laundry wash. Sorry, that was a mouthful. Yes, in the millions. We're in the millions of pounds of laundry washed. And it's cool to me again just to see how that simple, like, let's do what we can. Let's partner with Wedgewood. Let's take these small steps, can lead to such a bigger impact and bigger outcome. Um, so I just kind of want to leave you off this as I wrap up. I appreciate you giving me the time to share and talk about these things and be with you all this morning. That we we have our struggles, we have our quirks, we have like our tough circumstances and situations we go through as humans. We see things in our local community, we see things globally, nationally, that can be extremely discouraging and overwhelming and negatively impactful to ourselves and those we care about. And this idea of kind of fighting our way forward, fighting our way through that, creating a better future, creating a better vision for the church, for our country, whatever, for our families, our communities. I really do, in my brief 36 years of existence on this planet, think it starts with those daily, tangible acts of love, hope, dignity, empowerment, having those values, and kind of finding the ways that where is God already at work in our communities? Where is this asset-based community development that we can join up with what's already happening? Um, and just remembering that just as much as we need hope, just as much as we have the ability to inspire hope in others, we also need to feel empowered, and we also have the ability to empower others. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Corey. So much, Corey. I did have a follow-up question. What are some of the challenges that your organization has faced in some of the work that you do?
Yeah, great question. Just because of my job and my role, the number one thing that always default comes to mind is funding. Because, as you all have experienced, as a church, and I've worked in several church contexts, so I know this is kind of a, ubiquitous problem. Like it's something a lot of nonprofits and churches face. But just that idea of, theoretically, the sky's the limit. It's for what we can do. It's just typically getting the funding and the volunteers to be able to do that. But I would say, beyond that, it's, I think especially in a bigger city like Charlotte, I don't know that we had this kind of as much in Canton, Ohio, and some of the smaller communities in Ohio where I first started doing this. But I think it can be hard to like kind of continue momentum and like keep the vision contagious because there's always so many things happening, so many it's kind of so widespread that it's a little bit harder, like our context of where we were in Canton, Ohio, to see that community like arise and like folks that were coming to the laundry project and we kind of join into that together, everything I described. It's a little bit difficult in a bigger city because, folks are always coming and going so much more. So I would say on a practical level, it's always that funding volunteers. And on a more like vision level, it's being able to continue momentum of building those mutual community like third spaces where it's not just bringing on volunteers and whatever, but it's like we're kind of building something together within each of those neighborhoods, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Thank you, Corey.
Corey, how much do you spend on one laundromat? Like when you put the money on the cards in one session, one afternoon, one morning, however the time frame is, how much do you normally have to give out, donate in that one spot?
Yeah, well, so especially the context definitely matters here. Like, so being in a bigger city like Charlotte, and you guys saw us at your, I think we did, there's 30 or 40 families you all helped that day, but it's typically like each project costs $2,000 roughly
Oh.
to be able to like sponsor and host. And the vast majority of that goes towards like the quarters and laundry supplies. Because when you're serving, at our peak, sometimes it's like 50 families in that range. It's just a lot of laundry. And one of the surprising things to me is always like, even if folks have no idea that we're going to be there that day, they naturally have, I've seen people pull up with truck beds just full of garbage bags of laundry. So it's not just the amount of people, it's like the overall volume of laundry. But that 2,000 number is what we try to sponsor for each project to be able to cover it because we provide laundry supplies as well. We'll often send folks home with like detergent, things like that.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big fan of like if we have like full bottles of detergent kind of left over, if it's like, all right, just there's a family that needs it. So we try to get creative with the ways we help out that aspect too, but it definitely adds up.
And one more question. Have you tried or do you get donations from like the laundry for the detergent from the companies for the detergent for Tide or whatever the product name is? Have you attempted to ask for donations for that?
Oh yeah, over the years we've definitely had some companies do that. So there are ways to help mitigate that cost. Like we've worked with whether it's direct companies or churches or whoever like to do supply drives and things. So it's there's definitely like creative ways to raise laundry supplies, raise quarters, things like that.
Mm.
But yeah, we've had companies over time, not necessarily in Charlotte directly yet. I haven't made a connection with anyone here in Charlotte that has done that, but
Mm.
we've had over time companies do that.
Thank you.
I actually had a question for you. I kind of asked this a little bit, but I was just curious, if I may, what experiences you guys had when you did the laundry project, if you can recall.
You mean like being there and helping out?
Yeah, just general, like, I
I
was just
had a
curious what I didn't
blast.
really get to debrief with you guys, so.
I had a blast. I really enjoyed. I don't think I sat down once, because I like interacting with them. I like helping. I'm excited about doing things like that. So I would. It was fun to me because I was helping someone, even though we didn't speak the same language. We still were able to communicate as human beings. And I enjoyed that part too. Even though I didn't know the language, we still were able to ask questions or, simple things, I forgot what we were saying, free. Oh, we were saying free, free. We showed them the card, free, free, and look at you a little strange, like, what do you mean free? Like free, free. So I really liked doing that because they were so surprised and to be able to give like that. So I had a blast. I don't think I sat down until everything was all done. And then the babies were there too, so I enjoy the babies too. So it was fun.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, one of the reasons I've done this for so long and love doing it is just like, uh I love being able to be face to face with people in the community I might not have a chance to interact with otherwise. So
Right, right, right. And when you do that, you find out, even though we already knew or know, that people are just people. We're people. We're the same, even though we're different. And we come from different places and different cultures, but we're still people and we still need each other. We still care. They still need help. I mean, that part is like, that's the beautiful part of it. They need help. I need help. You need help. Everybody needs help, and we're here to help. So it was just, it was great all the way around. It was like the full spectrum.
you said it better than I ever could. Next time you should just do the message, honestly.
I really enjoyed it, and I still have the card here. I still have the card
Oh,
here because I wanted to, I want to do the Christmas thing with you. And I went to Aldi's here in Belmont. I'm in Charlotte, but Belmont's not too far from me. And I saw someone come out of Aldi's and they had the shirt on, dope peeler. So I didn't know the person. I was like, hey, friend, hey, I work with that. We did the laundry project. She goes looking at me like, oh, okay. All right. But I was like,
I love that.
hey, friend. I said, I
That's
work with
awesome.
our church, Wedgewood. We work with them. She didn't know what I was talking about. I don't know who she was, but she had the shirt on. So I just said, hey, friend, I work with you guys. Great job.
That's
She's,
incredible. I sincerely hope to run into you in public one day when I'm wearing my shirt and have that
oh yeah.
experience. That's great.
Like, hey, Corey, friend.
That's awesome. No, I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, it's true. I've always thought, like, it's so cool because, like, Starbucks, they say, like, we're supposed trying to be a third space, or coffee shops call themselves third spaces, and how the
Oh,
laundromat can do that, where you meet
oh
people that are
yeah.
different than you, and you get that dual, like, we can celebrate our differences, but also, like, that shared humanity, like, kind of
Yeah.
both. Like, it's really cool to be
I
in
love
community
it.
with people like that.
I love it. I love it. I really do. Thank you for
Mhm.
doing what you do. And you've been doing
Yeah,
it for
thank you. I
so
need to put you
long.
out on the stump as like a spokesperson. This is great.
It's it's like it's contagious. It feels to me anyway. It's contagious, and what a great way to help people. It's easy. It's fun. And I like the surprise. I like how the surprise that we're helping. Because people don't just come around and help. It's not the norm. It should be the norm, but it's not the norm.
Yeah.
It's the
Which
Absolutely.
norm.
we're trying to get another date scheduled so we
Oh
can have the
yeah, I
laundry
would love to
day.
do that. And I want to do the. Can you let us know when we do the Christmas? We didn't do the Christmas thing. But I don't know how you work it, but I think it's some simple similar.
Yeah, well, actually, that goes back to Liz's first question about challenges. We haven't been able to do affordable Christmas in Charlotte yet because it's a much bigger, like, event of,
Yeah.
you're talking probably 50 to 80 families shopping, but
Uh-huh.
it's because you're doing it where they're able to buy brand new gifts. It's uh like 10 to $20,000 for, like, the full sponsorship,
Oh,
and to be able to collect toys and all that
yeah.
kind of stuff and set it up, and just even having the locate, it's just more of a logistical. So we did it
Oh,
every year when I lived in Ohio, and we've done it in like Las Vegas and Tampa and some of our other home cities, but it's usually just kind of a big logistical thing to pull off. So it's been
Oh,
more
I
slow going
see.
in Charlotte.
Yeah, yeah, I understand all that.
Well, maybe Corey, you and I can, and if anybody else for which wants to join, maybe we can like meet for coffee and discuss because we have worked with so many people and so many organizations. There may be like some connections that we can help facilitate to
Yeah.
make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great. That's kind of, yeah, that's kind of one of my dreams for, being here in Charlotte and working with Current is like to be able to do affordable Christmas because I feel like it really adds to that vision of empowerment of like, I mean, you talk about the community at the Laundry Project. It's pretty similar at affordable Christmas when families are like, oh wow, I can buy this bike or this tablet or this thing and it's really only like $10 or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
parents are just shopping, that it's like it's not a here's our free stuff and
Yeah.
whatever. It's like when I was a kid growing up in my tough family circumstances, the pride and the hope that it inspired my
Yeah.
mom when she was like, "Oh, I was able to buy you gifts this year." It was just like obviously Christmas is very materialistic and all these things, but it's more about the value of like, and now as a new parent, I completely understand and empathize way more with that. Like I want to experience that joy of my child, and
Yeah.
Christmas is a way to do that. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be really cool to be able to bring that here.
Yeah. And then the
Mhm.
parents, like you said, mom and dad, or mom, maybe it's usually mom by herself, she feels good too that she was able to do this because she feels bad that she's not able to provide and make the children happy and surprise them. I mean, moms love doing that. We love to see the birthday parties. Okay, open up your presents. You get all excited for them. And that's the best part of Christmas, watching the kids open up the present and get something they didn't know they were going to get. And they're so excited. We take pictures and all that. So it's very important for the mom too, as well as the
Yeah,
child.
100%. That makes full sense. Yeah, I remember my mom's like, "Oh, I this was a free thing. I was like, I didn't have a choice over what I got." Versus like,
Oh,
she's like, "Oh,
yeah,
I got
yeah.
to go pick things out for you." It's a big
Yeah,
difference. So
it's a big difference. Yeah. Like you said, the word empowerment, that's a great word, empowerment. The mom does feel empowered that she was able to do this for the child and it made her light shine as well as the child, you know. So
yeah, thanks for sharing. That's true. I'm not a mom, so I appreciate the
well, you're a
perspective.
dad, so it's the
True.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's the
True.
same thing. You care for the child, you want the child to be happy, you want to celebrate the child, you want the child to experience, childhood and all those good things that come with it. It's the same thing.
Yep. Yeah, and when you're struggling to make ends meet and going through different things, it's like those moments of joy, unfortunately, can feel few and far between. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
As we say each week, there's a lot of work to be done. And